Hey everybody, we are live. We're gonna wait a few minutes here to get started with a little something new. A little something.
Yeah, we've never done this before.
Yeah. I think it'll be fun. We got enough beer to make it fun, even if it's not. So hopefully you do too.
That's my motto in life. If it's not fun, I have enough beer to make it fun.
Hey, your team's looking good. We can talk sports before we go live.
Yeah, absolutely.
What we do now is not in any way, shape, or form reflective of what will happen.
It's inconsequential.
Inconsequential. Good
This
call.
is our time. We can do what we want.
Do what I want.
Yeah. No, I was up super late last night watching my team. They went to third overtime last night.
They were down like 3-1 or 4-1 or something.
No, that was 2 nights ago. That was the night before last. Last night it was back and forth all game. It was like 1 up and then 1-1 and then 2-1, 2-2, and it was, yeah, they ended 3-3 in regulation and then took 3 overtimes to get to the get the winning goal.
What are we talking about right now? Somehow I have no idea what you guys
Talking
are
about hockey. The Winnipeg Jets. Yeah.
That would explain why I have no idea. Okay.
They went full sports ball on you, Nathan.
Sports ball. Yeah, I don't know much about sports, but I follow football a little bit.
Yes.
A little bit. I follow the NFL.
Yeah.
Wait. Are you Packers? Because
Better not be.
You got a lot going on if you're a Packers.
Better not
fan.
be a Packers fan, Nathan. We talked about this before you moved.
I am a Packers fan, but let me explain why it would be really good for my business. If the better they do, the better it is for my business. So.
Did we or did we not, though? When you moved to Green Bay, I said one thing to you. I said, you better not become a Packers fan. That was literally the only thing.
And I said, oh, don't worry, I won't. But I did.
Just don't come on my channel with a Rodgers jersey.
I'm not a Rodgers fan, though. In any way, he's not Packers, so.
Not for long.
Not for long.
He's somebody
on the way
else's
out.
problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? We are going to get started here in 2 minutes. We just want to say hi to everybody, give people time to jump into the stream. Doing something really different tonight. We're going to take that Pantheon plus U style show and have an open discussion, invite people to come on and talk about MMORPGs. We're going to dissect our time with BDO. I think this will be pretty fun. It's going to be something completely different. There's no script. We have no idea how this is going to go. It should be fun. So a couple minutes. Ooh, Breakout. Breakout says go Falcons. They're trading Julio. There's not going to be much there.
Yes, they are.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
America's team.
Respect for the Falcons, though. It's a good team. Atlanta's a cool place. I like Atlanta.
Atlanta is a cool place. I can agree with that. I think their team sucks, but it's a good place.
And Savannah is better than Atlanta. Sorry, but it is.
Savannah.
Make everybody mad. We should do a stream where we just try to make everybody watching mad. Just let me.
That's not hard to do, man. That's easy to do.
Let's talk about.
That's no problem for me. I mean, we'll talk about instancing. We'll talk about cash shops that I don't hate them. I don't even have to say I like them. It's like, you know what? I don't hate them. They're whatever. I'm villain. I might as well go to hell.
Yep, I can agree.
All right, you guys ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go ahead and launch it up.
Oh, we're live. We're streaming
You're
right
right
now.
there.
Cool, awesome, man. Let me just.
Au quotidien, c'est sur ta oui.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to our very first ever Roundtable wrap-up for MMORPGs, which we are probably going to do now at the end of every, instead of making a bunch of videos and trying to get it in and take all the time doing it, we're just going to open up to the community, kind of like we do with Pantheon plus U. A little different. We're going to grade right here live. We're going to BS about the game we played and probably rant and rave a ton about MMORPGs. So for anyone watching, thank you for joining us tonight, and hopefully it's entertaining. Jump into that chat. We're going to be reading it, responding the best we can. But tonight, gentlemen, let's go ahead and around the table here and just introduce Nathan. You want to talk about your channel and how people can check out your stuff and different things you're working on right now?
Yeah, the Nathan Napalm on YouTube. Come check me out. Trying to get to 10K, baby. I'm so close.
Almost.
I can taste it. So get in there, make an account, and get that 10K for me. I'm gonna do a very special video when I get to 10K. By the way, guys,
Oh boy.
very special, very very special. But anyway, I'm glad to be here. I like this the way we're doing this. The wrap up, just like prom night. Got to wrap it up sometime, right? So I think this is a good format, and I think we're gonna have some fun.
Well, we had the viewer warning, so all gloves are off here. And we're going to be talking about a game where I feel like I might be the only one who's not have censor things over their mouth. I'm going to have to add to this now.
I think people expect me to hate it worse than I do. I don't hate it as bad as, certain games.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Derek, what's up with you, man? How you been? What are you working on? I know you're working on something cool. Did you want to announce that, or are you going to be secret about it?
Yeah, no, I could talk about it. Yeah, no, I'm doing a lore video that is spiraling way out of control in terms of how big it is and how much I'm writing. I think it's going to be like 15, 20 minutes, but I might cut it into two. Basically looking at the map that they released and sort of doing like a lore tour of all the areas in that map. I've done those before a little bit with like zones and then like discovering Fairthale, that kind of thing. This is going to be like discovering Kingsreach. So doing sort of doing a lore tour of the continent. So
breaking into parts, you save it's like weeks of content. Weeks.
I know. That is kind of the temptation, is that I can sort of, spread it out a little bit and save myself a little work, but we'll see where it ends up. It's just about done. I just gotta finalize it up. So yeah, that's what I'm working on.
Now I just want to say I had to wait a while to say things like this. Okay, there's like a time and a place to say it, but I think it's okay to say this now. How does it feel, Derek, to be the new Chris Kane? Because I mean, people used to go to Chris Kane for all the lore, and now they come to you. I was about to say they have to. They want to, but how does it? I just want to know how that feels. It's got to have a feeling attached to it.
Derek, do not answer. Ready? Here, I'm going to be Derek. Well, Chris Kane is really good, and if it wasn't for him, I probably would have, wouldn't make the videos I do. And I just really recommend everybody goes and watches his videos. And it's very humbling to hear that. I'm just trying to do the best I can and make lore content that, people can enjoy. And I think you can listen to my content and also Chris Kane and really enjoy it.
Wow. Your opinion of me is stellar. Yeah. You know what? Chris Kane is really the originator of the lore. I'm just doing videos about this. No. You know what? If I would trade everything I have to be able to have a voice like Chris Kane. I would too. I would trade all my knowledge, all my any charisma that I apparently some people may think I have, to be able to
play that bass
have the pipes. What's that?
You played that bass guitar in the bathroom.
Yeah. That's true. I did do that. But I don't know, man. I'm just good at doing research. That's all I'm telling you. I don't have it all stored in my head. I'm good at looking things up. So that's how it feels. But no, it feels pretty good. I like my lore identity, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. And Drek, what's going on down there? You're organized something pretty fun. I'm going to make fun of you for quite a bit. What's going on with that?
Listen, if you can make fun of me all you want, but I think the community might turn on you if you do that.
Turn on me? They'd have to be with me first to turn on me.
Yeah, they'd be back on his side if they turned again.
Or continue to throw bricks and stones at you. Maybe I should put it that way. Yes.
Witch.
So I am your resident wizard. I'm working on my brand new Twitter account. So if you have a pity follow for me, I will totally take it. But I am working on tomorrow at noon Pacific time. Actually, Nathan and myself, a bunch of other crazy EverQuest folks, are going to level nonstop on the brand new Thornblade EverQuest TLP server. So it'll be a classic server, original EverQuest without any of the expansions, and we're going to level from level 1 all the way to 50 without sleeping, or at least until we all pass out or whatever, something else happens. So, but that's the goal. We're going to try to go all the way without sleeping.
We can do it. We can totally do it.
That's crazy.
We
Well,
have a spreadsheet. We have a written plan of how we're going to do it. It's insane the amount of preparation we put into this thing.
so you've played this game before. Is what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
This EverQuest
Yes,
game.
we have played the 21-year-old MMORPG before, and it has happened.
Can I show you guys something? It's funny. It's real funny. I put a meme in Discord today. It's gonna get me in so much trouble. Let's see if I can find it. But I put it's sort of a meme, but it's also super like it's legit. I took the EverQuest screenshot of like all the expansions. Did anybody catch this?
No, I haven't seen it.
Hold on. Here it is. I'm gonna move this in front of your guys' face for a minute here. How am I gonna do this? I'm gonna save it. And then let me open it. Give me a second. I'm gonna put it right in the chat here. Everyone said, uh-oh. Everyone's nervous for what they're gonna see here. I told you guys there's not a script right now for what we're doing. This is completely freeform. This might be a shit show. Look at this. You guys see on the stream.
Oh boy.
Look at all those expansions. My gosh.
You see though? You can see though.
Yeah.
The only time EverQuest, in most EverQuest fans,
That is true.
you really
It's
only liked
true,
it for
yeah.
about 3 years. Let's be
No way.
honest.
Those parentheses are too big. It stops after Velius.
Yeah, that was for me. It stopped after Velius. Exactly.
I'm
I
just
would
having
say
fun.
I would say that probably he captured the majority though. I've never hear anybody go beyond Planes of Power, right? Like
Yeah,
never hear
Planes
anybody
of
be
Power
like,
is the definite end for
So-
sure.
Yeah.
Everything after that.
Like I don't recount. Nobody has said to me, you know what? Call of the Forsaken was the best EverQuest expansion. I'm like, what? Is that a different game? Like, what is Call of the Forsaken? I've never heard of that before.
I gotta say, I don't think I've ever even heard anybody mention any of the other expansions. I'm gonna be honest. I don't.
Some of them are like vaguely familiar. Like I think I've heard of Secrets of Fadewar. I think I've heard of, the Underfoot. But some of them I'm like, what is that?
I made an inside joke one time about the House of Thule expansion. Literally nobody commented on it. And usually, if I make any inside joke about EverQuest, people are all over it. So that was evidence to me. I was like, yeah, people don't like those. They don't like it.
Well, here's what I said on this, which is what was funny. So, everyone hates on WoW. There's that group that's on early in the morning or late at night. They all hate WoW. And if you say WoW or link anything from WoW, people lose their mind. So I'm like, so wait, and all those people, what they will say, if they want to give WoW like, it was okay until Lich King.
Until or after, or they're saying that was
like Lich King was
its
the
final.
end. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Which
Lich King came out 4 years into WoW's life. So technically, if you're okay until Lich King, that's 4 years of game development that you liked. Maybe more, because it probably took another year before the expansion, or a year and a half. And you only liked 3 years of EverQuest. So
Yeah.
I hate this because I do love EverQuest, but I have to poke fun.
You know what the best part about these expansions were? I think the box art for some of them, like Omens of War. Somebody mentioned it in chat, and I thought, yeah, I love the box art on that game. That was incredible box art. Best thing I can say about it.
I don't know why I enjoy poking EverQuest fans, because I am one. Like, I love it. I can talk all day about it. You know what it is? I think it's just because everybody needs to just put their shields down, and we all just need to have fun. That's why.
I agree.
But anyway,
I think Minus just likes to poke people, and those are the easiest targets.
They get real mad. They get real mad. And I don't, you guys know me. I don't get very emotional about those kinds of conversations. Like, to me, it's just like, why are people so mad? This is a video game.
Well, it's kind of like this. Like, what side's your heart on? This side, right? I think my camera's flipped. But anyway, right here, this much of my heart is EverQuest, right? There's some room for lots of other MMOs and for, my family's in there somewhere, etc. Right? but when you poke at EverQuest, you're poking at people's hearts, man. I can take a joke, so I can laugh along, but I think that's what it is. People, too much of their heart is EverQuest,
Yeah.
That's
Well,
fair.
it's your first love, right? It's like for a lot
Yeah.
of people, it's like your first girlfriend, right? You're probably not still with them, but
Yeah,
you
but
know.
I don't hear people talking good about their first girlfriend. I don't hear
No,
people
that's
being
what I'm saying.
"Oh, she
That's
was a good one. Oh,
exactly.
she
You're
was a
like,
good
oh
one."
man, I
She
had
got
everything figured
away.
out, you know.
She's the one that got
She was the
away.
one.
If only she hadn't have burned all my stuff, I still would be with her.
If
Look,
only,
I'm on my.
if only she
I'm on
didn't
the
resist
15th
my ice
expansion of my
comment.
girlfriend right now.
If only she didn't resist my ice comment after 4 expansions.
That's right.
Why can't my new girlfriend be as good as my first one? You don't hear that, or at least I've never heard that.
Just sit there
No.
listening to like Fallout Boy and like, my dashboard confessional. Like
Yep.
nothing beats EverQuest. Remember when we grouped and levels mattered? We pretend classes mattered, but nobody wanted to play a rogue because they had 2 abilities. Didn't really matter that much. And warriors were awful. But bards are really cool. Okay. Well, we're not
That's
here
it.
tonight to make fun of EverQuest, and that will
No.
pretty much kill our show anyway. And I love EverQuest. I do. If you want to go story for story on me, I can story for story you my amazing times in EverQuest, but that's a little more fun. Anyway, so tonight we are wrapped up. We are done with BDO. For those that don't know what BDO is, that is Black Desert Online. It's also right here. So just read. And what we used to do is we would play these games. So this is the 5th game we've played. What games did we play, guys? What did we start with? I don't even remember.
What did we start with? Guild Wars 2.
Oh, jeez. Nate,
We
you
started
okay?
with Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, we did.
Are you okay,
Are we
Nate?
Are we masochistic?
Mhm.
Yeah, we are. Well, I'm glad we just got it out of the way, man. I would have been dreading that this whole series. Like, oh god, one day we're gonna do Guild Wars 2.
You guys
Yeah.
know? Do you guys remember the slime fight?
Yeah,
that
Slime
was
Rancher.
entertaining. That was
I
entertaining.
did have fun with that.
Fun's a tough. I mean, when we beat it, there was something fell off my soul that was weighing it down. But
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about fun, but it was. It did give that release, like, oh, finally, that's over with. Thank God I'm never gonna play this game again and never have to do that again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
from
then
there we
after
went
that-
to EverQuest 2.
and that was
Yeah.
fun.
That was a
EverQuest-
great experience.
EverQuest 2 is really fun. And by the way, I do want to thank Gulu Gulu and Great Vendini for subscribing. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it, guys. Yeah, the EverQuest 2 was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the rogue. I thought the dungeons we did. I'd be honest, in everything we've played so far, the dungeons were amazing. What was the Narek Castle? Was
Nectulus.
yeah.
Nectulus, yeah, something like that.
That was awesome. That was
This is amazing.
I mean, yeah, I don't know that I've had that much fun in a dungeon. I can't think of anything
yeah.
recently that I had that much fun in a dungeon, and that was a really good time. And you play with friends, anything's fun, right? But that was a good time. I enjoyed EQ2. Then we moved to what was after EQ2?
DDO. Dungeons
DDO.
and Dragons Online. Yep.
Yeah, DDO. Yeah.
We had some problems. We didn't
And-
play that very long, right? We only played it like
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks, I think. Yeah. And that was fun. We had some good times. I enjoyed that experience. I think that there's some problems with it. It wasn't the perfect game for me, but not bad. And
No, it
then
wasn't
from
bad.
there we did Dark Age of Camelot, which was our last
Yeah.
before this.
I love that game.
Yeah. So and then some people did videos about Dark Age of Camelot. Some person did a video about Dark Age of Camelot.
It's
Some
sad that
people
I
did not.
It's sad that I did it,
Nathan.
'cause I've got-
That's exactly where I was going with this. I'm going to call you out here because this is your game. You love this game, and you didn't even do a video about it. What's wrong with you?
Well, the problem is, you see, that it's hard to make a video on Dark Age Camelot's Paladin because I don't want to hurt Midgard and Hibernia's feelings, right? It's I don't want to hurt people's
Like
feelings.
I did. You guys
I'm
all
trying to
put
get-
what I screamed in
for
my
the
video.
people.
Every one of you guys, Nathan, you put it out in a video. Derek put it in his class
Yes.
video. Of me just
Somebody
going,
said it somewhere random, like the other day. It was like on a Visionary
Mid
Realm
sucks.
stream or something. Somebody just said mid sucks.
Really?
Did you guys catch that? It was somewhere
No.
random. I laughed forever. Like, I can't believe somebody came out here and said that. It makes
Mine is
no
you're in the
no
pop
sense
culture
here.
now. It's become a thing. That's
the best
amazing.
part was the people who got mad about it. Like, I didn't know what I was saying. You guys told me
so good.
we were against mid. They were killing us. I was like, oh yeah, well, you suck.
That's so good.
Oh,
Classic.
that's so good. I love it. Dalmos RL Bard says some did a still motion picture about shooting bows.
Yeah, that is kind of what it ended up being. I have to admit, it was a little bit of a slideshow.
Hey, that's what it's going to look like when somebody else is watching a ranger in Pantheon when they're doing the aim shot. That's what it's going to look
Yeah,
like.
we're gonna get the part 2 when Theric goes to aim at things.
But that'll be on Theric. He'll be like, wait, hold on, guys. I'm trying to hold on. What's moving? Hold it still. Nathan, quit moving. Nathan, hold it still. Nathan, turn it.
I'll be like walking in front of
And
him,
then-
like blocking his view.
Miss.
Pretty much exactly what's gonna happen. Total bad FPS gamer. I'll never make it work. It's an exciting idea. I'll never use it.
We didn't really grade those, and I'm not really equipped to because I can't even remember. But I will tell you guys, I enjoyed it.
We're talking about Dark Age.
Dark Age, yeah. I'll just say real quickly.
Okay.
It was there were mechanics of the game that I don't like. I don't like that you have to ready your abilities before they hit, but if you move at all, like it stops readying your abilities. So like it was very rigid and clunky, and it really made the rogue feel weird, and I didn't enjoy it very much. What I found myself doing was just that backstab dance thing, and then the combo that went with it the whole time. Seemed like it was working, but it just I didn't love that game.
Yeah, and I gotta say that the rogue isn't really a favorite PvE class, right? People that love the rogue, though, and there's a ton of people that just love those classes in Dark Age, they PvP, and they're freaking epic in PvP.
Yeah, like
they
the
pop
rogue that
out, they
PvP me.
backstab. Yeah, exactly. That guy was having a blast. That guy was loving his class.
He's having a good time.
Guys, look at this rogue. He can't do it. He has no idea. I just pop out, I kill him, and I go away, and he can't do anything about it. It's fantastic. Yeah.
And then he runs back to the same spot. Like, what the heck?
I just keep getting to kill him. Yeah.
We're both having fun. He's enjoying it as much as I am. Yeah.
I liked like the dungeon we did. I don't know though. I don't know that I could rate it much higher than Guild Wars.
Yeah. I gave it pretty high marks actually in some areas. I gave the class identity very, very high marks. I just don't see how it gets better than what they did. Not that I don't see how it gets better. They did a really, really good job with the class identity aspect of things. I think that very, very well defined. And yeah, I mean, some things like you said, the clunky combat was a little bit of a thing. And
you liked the,
but I did. At the end of the day, I ended up liking it a lot. I actually went back and made an elf ranger. What's the realm that uses the elves?
Better not have been mid.
No, it was Hibernia.
No, Hibernia, because I wanted to play the real ranger, right? So I wanted to see what it was like. So I actually have a Hibernian ranger running around in there now.
Does it shoot faster, or is it just as slow?
No, you do shoot faster. It's a different feel. It's a different feel.
The ranger's pretty deadly. I've never played one, but I've been killed by them many times.
If I remember right, that class is also a stealth class, isn't it? The ranger is also a stealth class.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like a little bit. It's not like a full. It's like got some limited stealth, but it feels like one when you get killed by one. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Anything, Drac, for you? Did you like it?
I like DOC. I mean, I played it when it came out. I have a heart for it. I have a little bit of like, I feel like it hasn't aged as well as some of the other MMOs have. Like the UI is just atrocious. Like it's just awful.
I agree.
I couldn't see anything the whole time.
Oh my goodness.
It's like what UI?
4K nonsense aside, even just the UI at the right resolution is still really rough.
You can take all of that and the fact that you have to put a trail on your mouse to play the game.
That is
weird.
That is pretty ridiculous.
How is that a fix? How is having a Windows mouse trail on your mouse pointer a fix to a game?
I can actually explain this. So what happened was, this game was owned by Mythic Entertainment, who did a really good job launching this game just a couple of years after EverQuest. And then EA bought it, and they just said, "Nah, just let it die." And so weird things that should have been updated never were, and here you go. There's Dark Age.
So someone
still
from
the
EA
exact same as it was.
So someone from EA is like, "Good idea. Let's mess with players. Make it so the game doesn't work unless they put a mouse tail on."
Yeah, that was it. The EA was like, they're like, you know how you get famous? You can either do the right thing, which is hard, or you can just be the villain, which is easy.
Oh, you just nailed it, man. That's it. That you nailed it right there. That's the quintessential essence of notoriety, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it
that's
was
so
like
funny.
we can either put loot boxes in this thing or just kill it. Guess
Yeah.
And it was a game they had a really hard time putting the, and it took them years, man, to get the loot boxes in. Well, they didn't get loot boxes, but to get a cash up in that game because the way the game is designed, the whole thing literally breaks if you start adding anything to it. So they found a way. There is a cash up now, but not loot boxes. But
It's funny. Hey, thank you for the sub, Toad, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming in and watching this one too, because we have no idea what we're doing. So anyway, let's move on. We're on chapter 5.
all right.
Black Desert Online. So what we're going to do is we'll talk about each of the categories. We'll give a grade. Do you guys want to start just by talking about the game?
Sure.
Yeah.
Just kind of talk about the
Sure.
game. Don't worry about your class so much. Talk about the game. Let's see. Drac, this was your first experience?
Yes.
So why don't you start? What was your first experience like with BDO?
Oh my goodness, that's so much pressure.
Not your class,
Speak
just
from
the
your
game.
heart, man.
Just,
Speak from your heart.
Speak from your
All
heart.
right, here's from the heart. Sorry, Minus, we may not be able to be friends after this.
Oh, no,
Don't worry,
worry.
Drac. I'll
I'm
back
not
you
that
up. I
guy.
got you. I
I'm
got
not
you,
that
brother.
guy.
So just to put it out there, like I really dislike fighter games, like like Mortal Kombat and like Street Fighter. Like I've always been awful at them. I'm that guy that can never pull off the combo, right? I like make the joystick move in what I think is all the right directions, and it never happens. So
You always say, I did it right. It's the game.
that is exactly who I am. Exactly. So so I didn't really like BDO because I felt like this was just a giant fighter game in a MMO world. Like and everything was a combo and everything was a up down left right button at the same time. Press everything 3 times and I'm just like I have no idea what I'm doing.
There's a lot of
And
depth in the combat. There's a
Yeah,
lot of depth.
I don't know. I like the depth of my combat to be in the thinking it out and the strategy of it and that piece of it. That's really what I love about MMOs is that piece of it, and not the pressing of buttons in the correct order and swiveling my joystick all around while pressing A B and all that. I'm no good at that. I've never been good.
You were
at
using
it.
a joystick?
No, I'm just saying.
Drax trying to play.
That's what
Drax
it
trying to
feels
play
like.
BDO with like a flight stick. Why doesn't this work?
Flight stick.
Missiles.
He's got the pedals going and everything.
Yeah, trigger. What's this trigger do? I keep talking to this black spirit thing. What is this?
Yeah, I mean it's fun and it's kind of cool to see the big fireball lands. And I mean it's not like I didn't do any of the combos. I could get them to work, but it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
Eric, you were new to it. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I every time I played this game, I wanted to like it. I tried. I would get a little bit excited about while we were playing, and then when we were done playing and I was reflecting on it, I hated it. I hated it. I dislike almost everything but the graphics in this game.
Okay.
Like Drax said, the combos are
crawling.
Yeah, crawling is weird. It's bizarre. No, but like Drax said, the combos, I don't play those kinds of games, and I'm never like Drax. I've never been good at fighting games, and that's just part of it. It's almost like this game is written in a different language. We talked about it on stream one night, where it's like I'm trying to learn a different language, and it's not enjoyable. It's not an enjoyable experience. There's no fighting gear progression. Like there was no drops. Gear didn't drop. There's just so many things I have such a problem with a game that we could have been doing all the things we did separately on different parts of the map and just talking like we were. Us being together had no meaning, like in the game.
Well, technically it was because I carried you guys everywhere toward the end.
Yeah, but be that as it may, there was no dependency. Like Nathan, you did some heals, but I don't know if we really couldn't have made it without them. I don't know, man. This game just makes me realize, it makes me want Pantheon so much more because it's everything I don't like about an MMO.
Well, that's what we need to do then. We need to get everybody in like the Pantheon community who's upset or frustrated. Go play Black Desert for a while. Come on back.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to save my comments here, but anything else, Eric? I didn't want to cut you off there.
No. That's the overview. I'll say.
Okay. Nathan, you've played this game before. You don't hate it. I know that.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I played it back when it launched and had a lot of fun with it back then. My main concerns are the gear to look cool in the game. You pretty much got to buy it on the cash shop. Like
My gear
there's
wasn't
not a lot
purchased.
of. Well, there's some, but there's not a lot of variety, right? So like that gear you wore is like there's like 50 versions of it, right? And they all look the same.
Yeah.
They might have a little bit of a slight tint to them, but they're pretty much the same. The really unique, really cool looking gears on the cash shop. And I just that hurts a lot. I do like fighting games, so maybe that's why I kind of don't mind the way that the combat works in the game. It doesn't bother me. It's not my ideal. I would prefer more strategy, etc. But it's good old fashioned bashing heads fun to me, right? Like
It's kind of like if you took like the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game and Streets of Rage and made it into an MMO, right?
Right, that's what it feels like. That you have fun just going through the waves. But there's a couple of things though about Black Desert Online that is interesting. It is fully open world, non-instanced. People claim there's no dungeons, but we at least found one. There is. It's maybe they don't have bosses, etc. But there are like underground and castles you can go through, etc. And it's the weird thing I want to say is the graphics are good. But there's just something weird about their graphic style that, like, there's so much detail and stuff. Maybe it's the UI clutter, but for some reason, it's just like, I just don't even care. Like, like I get in a game like Pantheon, I'm looking at every branch of the tree, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. For some reason, in Black Desert Online, always, I just don't care about the environments. I don't care about any of that.
There's
It's like
moments
overwhelming to the eyes a little bit. Like it's so over. There's so much. It's just a little bit too much.
Sterling just said too, like the pop up is pretty bad in the game, like the grass pop ups and like some of the stuff in the distance. Even with it max, it's kind of weird. You see a lot of pop up or rendering as you're playing, like on the fly.
That's true.
Yeah, it's it's interesting. It's funny because everybody here talked a lot about the combat, and then talked about like what your characters look like and the gear progression. All of that I agree with. Interesting part is we obviously don't play these games long enough to go through everything. But man, does this game have systems. Like this game has systems on freaking systems. And I was actually talking to somebody today in the unofficial Pantheon Discord, and I said, for all you want to trash on BDO, have at it, right? Have at it. But the game has a crazy market system that like people have talked about wanting in Pantheon, like regional items having different values in different areas, being able to connect your trade routes to get more for them, to find something across the world. And if you do travel with it to another part of the world that's further away, it has more value. Like a lot of the market system, I think a lot of Pantheon fans would love. It's really in depth. It's really interesting. We didn't get to play around in that a lot, but like they have the regional banks, they have regional auction houses, they have like, or maybe not auction house anymore, but they have like the regional banks and all that. Like your gear is in there. And there's some interesting caravan style features that were kind of talked about in Pantheon at one point. Like you could log out and your character could join a caravan. It'll take a really long time, but your character will progress to a location while you're offline. That was something they talked about. And BDO has that. So it's funny because this is what I talk about when I talk about like there's a lot of things in MMORPGs, even if it's not a great game, that can be learned from. And BDOs, now the crafting's a mixed bag because you can use some cash shop stuff to help you progress your crafting, but it's not guaranteed because crafting is a huge pain in the ass. It is so in depth, and it's not in depth to the point where you can't make anything. It's in depth to where you want the top stuff. It's punishing. It is like you break your item and start over like after months. So there's interesting things about the game. I think it is funny. Like Theric, you said, and maybe Nathan said it's a massive open world. Massive. Like when we were running at the end there to just go look at houses, which is hilarious, by the way. We were running for a long time. I didn't even realize the map went that far south. And then like you look at and again, we didn't get to experience, but like the boat building, and like the sea travel with like currents and like the difficulty of that and like working with other people to help build like bigger boats and stuff. There's a lot of really interesting things there. The combat's interesting because I am sure there are people who are ridiculous at combat. Pull off these nutty, just like when you play Street Fighter in the arcade or online against someone, like you think you're good, and then you play someone online, you just get wrecked, right? Like, what? I didn't even know this level existed. The problem was, in leveling and stuff like that, like we barely paid attention to anything we were doing. We were just talking and spamming abilities, right? You didn't really have to do that. Yeah, so it's interesting. Oh, as far as like the Korean MMOs go, the only two I really like are Blade and Soul, and I would say I like BDO. It can't be my home, but I do like it. So, anything else you guys want to add before we jump into some of the report card stuff here?
Yeah, I do agree with you on the Korea thing. For Korean MMOs, I never gave Blade and Soul shots, so I can't comment on that. But out of all the others I played, I do think BDO is the better one, definitely.
I never spent a cent on the cash shop. I'm not saying I shouldn't have, like if I wanted to progress better, but all the time I played and all the money I had and like all the stuff I was farming, like I was farming and taking stuff like gold bars that I would get to different areas and getting just tons of gold. I have a boatload of silver. I never paid a cent, and it's Scout's honor. And you guys know, I'll tell you if I spend money on a game, I didn't spend a cent on that game.
So that one thing you were talking about where like you have to, and I don't remember what it's called, but you have to take things and you have to like meld it with the weapon or piece of armor to upgrade it to a +4, +5 or something like that.
Yeah.
Eventually it gets really difficult where it's like, 15% chance it's going to succeed. And if it breaks, there's a certain percentage chance it will break the item. So you don't even have your sword or whatever it is anymore. But the reason one of a few reasons people say it's pay to win is because you can buy these things on the cash shop that guarantees.
Chance, right?
Yeah. Well, you can do one that's like 99. It's pretty close, like 95 or 99% chance that it won't break it or something like that. Not that it will succeed. Could be getting this wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. But that it won't break the item. So people feel like that's mandatory to buy it because it took so long to get it to a +6 that trying to get to +7 it breaks. Like that's a total like rage quit, horrible situation.
Yeah. Like Minus, I just want to say what you were talking about with all those systems, like those are fine. Those are good ideas. But if the combat for me at an MMO is the core. Like if the combat's not good, like I would never play an MMO that's just crafting, right? I would never play an MMO that's just a trading game. Like that's why I don't play EVE Online. Like I'm not into that kind of thing, Like if the combat isn't good, nothing else matters, to me. I don't want to spend my time trying to increase my wealth if there's no reason that leads me back to being better at combat. You know what I mean? So I like what you said about the ideas, and I think there are good ideas, and it does have systems. It's got way, way too many systems for me, but
overwhelming. It is overwhelming.
It is completely overwhelming. And I'm not opposed to those kinds of systems. I just think that if you don't get the combat right, nothing else matters, for me.
I'm afraid we're going to get copyright strike because Derek just said nothing else matters, and Metallica doesn't play around. So
Lars, we're sorry.
I heard from Nathan that he was going to still play BDO just for the housing. So
no, well,
that housing tour we did was the funnest thing ever.
That was fun. That actually was fun. It's just fun to be nosy and just we're not supposed to be there. You know what I mean? Like it was fun. I had fun with looking at housing.
I'm pretty anti-housing in MMOs. I've kind of come out and said like I think it's a waste of time. I had so much fun doing that.
Crazy.
And it started to make me think to myself like, this might be cool in Pantheon.
And life skills are a cool thing, like housing is cool. I did housing in Vanguard. I really liked my house in Vanguard. And I get that, but that again, it's like that I'll do that when I'm not doing what I really, really want to do, which is going out and, killing big stuff, killing dragons and stuff. Like
well, the house... I like it when they mix that, right? Like Dark Age Camelot, and we've seen that they must have it in BDO too, where like in Dark Age Camelot, I remember my house, I had the dragon's mounted head above my door. And I remember I would just go there and just look at it and be like, I remember that day that I got the drop for this, right? And then I had to go to a taxidermist and he had to, make it into the mount that I could put in my house. And that aspect of housing is the only aspect of housing that I have good memories with. Because I remember I would do that. I would just sit there and look at it and remember that day that I not just killed the dragon, but I got the drop.
Right,
to get
right.
It,
So it's got that connection to combat, right? It's got that connection to adventuring.
Yeah, and I do like that part of it. And that's it. I don't really care about housing. My house was that. It had my mounts of things for memories, and it was blank. There's nothing else in the house.
So you guys can vote on this too while we're talking here. I just put up a poll on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the worst. Where would you rank BDO as an MMO? You guys can vote. Just hit exclamation point vote and then the number you want to put.
Mm.
I'm just curious. I'm just curious. 1's the worst. So I would say.
Do you want to do it now or do you
We
want to?
can.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
wait.
yeah, why not?
Okay.
Everyone in the chat's doing it. 3 years. And I
We
threw
can vote
3.
too. Okay.
I did 3.
I don't know. I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna think about it for a while.
Okay. So I'm curious. Yeah, chat. If you guys have done it, I'm curious. Let me know. Okay, so let's get into this. And anyone who's played, play along. What's your favorite class? Tell us in the chat. I'll read it out. So we go over the classes and how they play. That's really the whole point of this. We wanted to play a bunch of MMORPGs and really learn more about the classes that we love. That's the end of the day. We're not actually here to rate the MMORPGs, but we're going to have our opinions on them. You can't really avoid that, right? So I always play a rogue. Theric always plays a ranger-like class. Drac always plays a wizard, and Nathan always plays a paladin-like class. And sometimes we can't play the exact thing. And we kind of all have our standards on things that we want from the class. And one of the important things is we always get comments in our videos, and everybody says like, oh, well, why do you have to have a rogue with daggers? Because that's what I want. And that's what this is all about. It's opinions. It's definitely opinionated. So we want to hear your opinions. And in the videos we put on YouTube, like when this goes up on YouTube, and I think Nathan's even going to do some fun stuff with it possibly, whatever ends up happening, we want to hear your comments. Like we want to hear your comments now. We'll read them. So think about your favorite class if you've played BDO and how that class or what class it is. So I'll start with combat. I play the, I can't even say my class name. Assassin?
Yeah, assassin or something like that.
I like how you
like
had
assassin,
to put like
but when you're
slur on
drunk.
it. Assassin. Yeah, so it's modeled after more of an assassin class than a typical rogue. I think that is a pretty big difference in my opinion when you play MMORPGs. So the cool part is I did like the daggers were cool. You had like the double daggers or like the little blades, those were cool. You had like a pretty neat shadow step style ability, for example. So like some of that was cool. Overall though, it was like, it didn't really have poisons or bleed. There's no stealth. I mean, stealth would be silly in this game. Let's be honest. There's no enemy that you need to walk up to and like stealth. So a lot of that really to me, it hurts. The combat was fun. The crazy tornado shadow thing was pretty cool. The one where you like slowly draw your blade and just like wipe everybody out was really cool. So the combat was neat. It was fun. It was engaging. It was very move heavy, which is rough in an action RPG because I'm like moving out of the combat or into a wall all the time, like just because my ability takes me there. So it was a little rough to like keep my character because I didn't know my range on stuff well, and that's kind of on me. But playing that class, I give the combat a C. It's fun, but it's not what I want from a rogue or assassin. Micro Grizzly says, the ninja has stealth. Like I was gonna play ninja until I saw the assassin, but I don't like the ninja variant of rogue at all. Unfortunately, that's probably what I'm gonna end up playing when we do Final Fantasy 14 in some way, shape, or form. To me, rogue and ninja are so different, like lore and like what those classes are. I don't know. So for me, I'm gonna give combat a C. It was fun, but it just wasn't what I would want. And there's no real rogue in the game, so kind of stuck like you were, Nathan.
Ninjas have swords, katanas, right?
Yeah.
Ninjas.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not
No,
using a sword.
it was I mean, so for me, I mean, playing a ranger, the thing about BDO and I don't really, gender locking is not really like something that I'm not gonna die on that hill, you know, like it's not a big deal, but to play the ranger in BDO, I had to play a female character, which is fine. But I feel like again, like an MMO is more about, you know, you express yourself through your character. So minus like kind of what you're saying is like, you know, you want to be a rogue with daggers. That's your expression of a rogue. And it didn't really allow for that. So even though you could be a male, you know, you would have played a female if it would have allowed for, if the character you played had the ability to do that wouldn't have bothered you. And so for me, I don't mind playing a female, but I also want the option to not like, so I did play the Ranger, and in terms of the combat for the Ranger, it looks very good. It's very stylish. It's very kind of neat. Like you're talking about the skill you had with the whirlwind. Her moves were pretty cool. You know, she could flip around and, you know, jump up the air and like do a hail of arrows. There was some like, you know, crouching, rapid fire type attacks. Yeah, I don't know, but again, without going more in depth, and admittedly, it's like I said, learning a language, you have to really spend the time learning the moves, learning the class, learning the combos, how to utilize them most effectively. That's the thing we have with all these games we play for this series, is that we aren't spending as much time as we really should to be able to say this is a good combat for this class. We give our impressions of it, but really to go deep, I'm sure that people who play BDO seriously and play a Ranger could say like, oh, you know, there's a really good whirlwind attack you can do, and something that I didn't get to. Just on feel, I think it felt okay. It didn't feel like but it didn't feel like I was using a lot of strategy, like you talked about, Drac. I was just sort of like doing combos that looked cool and seemed like they were powerful, but you know, there's not enough depth to it in terms of like strategy, thinking ahead, using attacks the right way, I guess. So superficial overview, but it didn't feel great for me.
What would you give it? Would you rate it?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a C minus.
Damlos wants to know if the Ranger deaths felt good.
Well, we didn't die a lot. That's
died.
one of the notes.
We
died.
did die a little bit.
A couple times, maybe at the
maybe
at the
2 or 3
tops.
times.
And consider that we got to almost level 40 and we only died twice. Like we
That
got to
don't
level
feel very
40 and we
Ranger.
almost died twice.
Mm.
As a Ranger, I should be dying way more than that.
It did feel a little Guild Wars 2, where we just kind of rolled on the face on the keyboard and everything died.
Except for the one thing, and go in the name I don't speak.
Yeah.
Right.
The slime. That's what it was. Yeah.
The quest that we couldn't line up perfectly.
Yeah.
Everybody said so. Not a real Ranger. I get it. All right.
Yeah.
Drac, let's continue around the circle. Oh, do you want to go, Nathan? You can go.
No. Go ahead, Drac. I really want to hear what Drac has to say. Real bad. So go ahead.
I think combat was okay. Like I said, I'm not a huge on the fighter type thing or the combos, but the fire, the spells looked really good. The atom bomb spell where I dropped the big nuke, like that was one of the coolest fire effect spells that I've seen in any MMO anywhere. So that piece of it was really cool. But just the pace of it and the way that combat fleshed out with enemies just kind of dying and
was your combat as fast as ours was as a caster?
Yeah, it was pretty fast. It was super fast. And also, you know what thing I think Nathan said something about it earlier, but like, you know what really bugged me was aggro range. Like I just ran past stuff all day long and it didn't even turn to hit me. Like, and I could get super close to stuff and it was never angry at me, and stuff leashed really, really fast. So if I like took like just a few steps away from it, it like leashed back to its spot. And that's just not like maybe I'm just too big of an EverQuest homer, but like stuff in EverQuest chases you to the zone or till it's dead, right? And I really like that element of an MMO where like stuff chases me if it's angry at me, but there is none of that in BDO. So that part kind of was.
Plus, you really never really need to run.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right. There is no nothing you can't get out of. You can just kill stuff. So
like there's no danger, right? When there's no danger, there's no reason to get more powerful. You know what I mean? Like why would I need to get more powerful if there's no danger?
Partially that's on me though. I mean, because throwing my gear from my max level character, and that's a whole interesting topic to talk about here in a minute, but because there's no level on gear, what I earned on my main character, I literally threw in the bank and got on this character. And I was housing stuff. Like we were fighting level 50 stuff in the 30s because I was so geared.
Yeah, and the rest of us were almost doing no damage either. Like we were just like, you know, nothing. And then you would come along and kill it, and we just thought we were helping. We really weren't.
So I could have ruined some of that experience as well, because we might have been able to fight some stuff that was a little harder.
I would argue that it still feels the same, right? Like even with that, we still got the same feeling of what because we thought we were doing damage. It doesn't like tell you very obviously. I mean, trust me, it's in there. The UI has way too much information, but I would assume I know I didn't even look at damage or I didn't even care. So, but it does. I would say the combat feels the same.
Like, and it's, I know you pointed out during the streams minus that, like, there's those areas where they have like, recommended gear score for this area because you'll get wrecked. And like, I can appreciate that, but why does it have to take that long to get to that point? Like, why does it not even take that long? Like we leveled pretty quickly, but that the whole game shouldn't lead up to the point where you have to finally feel danger, like there should be more danger there. Like that's the game is the danger, and there's no game to be played if I'm not trying to overcome challenges. If I'm not, if there's nothing to fight back against me, there's no game. I just bugs me.
So Drac, we kind of jumped in with you grading your combat because you got us so amped up. So good job there. But if you want to continue on your combat discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it a C minus.
All right.
I think it was at the end of the day it was fun, but it's there's some other categories where it's really going to pay here soon.
Before you go, Nathan, you know what's interesting to me about this game? I enjoy it because there was never a time where I played it like it was going to be my MMO home. I've only played it as just a have fun, don't worry about it too much kind of game.
Right. Don't take it too seriously.
Yeah,
right.
and I think at that point it's fun. It couldn't be my everyday game. I don't know.
Go ahead,
Nathan. They would have just not called it an MMO, right? Like
that's
exactly. I think everybody would have appreciated a lot more if they just said, "Hey, here's a multiplayer game."
Pretty
and I
massive
think
now.
It is massive. I agree, but
we saw the towns were full of people.
Massive multiplayer.
Yeah,
I don't know if I
the towns were super full, man. There's not many games that would have that many people around.
I mean, obviously they do something right. So you know what I mean? They do have a good player count, right? So our opinion, we're just people who don't necessarily even like this particular style, right? So if you like BDO, you're probably not here, but just in case you are, it's a preference thing, and I didn't like it overall, right? Like it's okay, and you can have fun with it, like Mina said, right? It just for a distraction. It's so different than everything else we've been playing that I had fun for the few weeks that we played it. But a lot like what Derek said, when I would look back on the session, the only thing that I actually had fun was talking to you guys, right?
Yeah. Right.
Nothing in the game actually was like, that was cool,
Yeah.
And for combat,
like, we'll talk about your class because you didn't.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I wasn't a paladin because that's not in the game. Shame on you. Shame on you, whoever makes this game that I don't remember. But they have the Valkyrie. Pearl Abyss. There you go. But they have the Valkyrie, which is, it's the closest thing, right? And for a Valkyrie, from what I know, it seemed pretty spot on, and they're close enough. It had, she could heal. She was a little, I guess, tanky. She had that ability that made things come on her. And the main thing from my playthrough, once again, obviously not an expert, first time I ever played the class, but the main thing I found about combat was knocking things down, which we'll get to that here in a little bit. But that felt like the best thing I could contribute was I would do an attack and it would knock everything in a AoE range down, and it would save us sometimes. And I just kind of spam that and a couple other things. I can't believe I feel like everybody kind of took it easy on the combat. I thought you guys would be a little more brutal. Honestly, although I don't mind the fighter style, I did not have fun with the combat at all. I literally wasn't even paying attention, right? Like I just had a couple of things I was just off my brain, down E, forward F, just doing over in a kind of rotation. I wasn't even thinking about combat. I was just talking and goofing off with you guys and looking at the female I had to play's shiny armor. So I just,
you were looking at my shiny abs. Just admit it.
I gotta, yeah, they were very shiny. I gotta give it a D, man. It's just the combat is just totally not even necessary. It really isn't.
Changing his score.
Yeah, I'm changing my score. Nathan, you're right. I should have been more. Yeah, you're right. It's not a C minus. It's it's like a D or an F. Like I just no.
I'm
You're
sticking
right.
C.
It just
Drax, would
doesn't
you like to
matter
change?
at all.
That's right.
No, I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm good. There's some Fs that are coming up, so
Got him loaded in the barrel. He's coming.
All right, well,
remember,
let's move on.
I'm the one that has 4 pages of notes ready for
That's
this
true.
thing.
That's true. I've played it more than anyone here, I think.
Yeah.
All right, let's move to utility. I guess I'll just start these and we'll go around the same way we did. There was utility in this game. I had a shield I could put up, and I don't know if that did anything. Utility's not here. I got no traps. I got no stealth. You can't mez stuff. There's no point to it. All the things I would want from a rogue in CC or lockpick or anything rogue wasn't there. I can't. F, I guess I have to. I mean, I like this game more than you guys, but this is a category that's just not in the game.
Yeah, that's right.
And there might
exactly.
be like Nathan, you had a little bit, and there's definitely probably classes that have more of it. My class, at least to where we got, and the level at which I learned the class, which wasn't great. I didn't feel the need for any of it. I mean, I could knock stuff down when I did that big blade attack, but the blade attack was so much damage. That's all I cared about. Yeah. The game doesn't do well with utility other than knockdown and stuff like that. So I don't love it. I will give it an F there. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know if the what's the music class, the shy or whatever it is. I think the little girl class, the whatever you call it. Maybe they have some utility, but there's just nothing there. I mean, when you don't have class interdependence, there's no utility necessary. And it's funny because BDO kind of gets like it's like a life skills game in a lot of ways. Somebody mentioned in chat, and we talked about it a little bit. It's more focused on life skills, fishing, trading, your mount, taking care of your mount, doing your housing, that kind of stuff, which is kind of like what utility from more classic MMOs morphed into, in a little bit, in a way, if you think about it. Like they took some of those things that you could do in old MMOs for utility purposes, like tracking or harvesting and crafting kind of stuff, and sort of made it its own separate thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's an F for me too. I just don't know what to grade it on. I guess maybe it's an incomplete, or maybe I just NA. I don't know.
All right, Jack.
Yeah, triple F minus.
Yeah, it's busting out the triple F minus.
It's awful. Yeah, there was no utility whatsoever. It was, it was all attack moves all the time. Everything I had was an attack move. So
I think my ranger did have some healing stuff, but it was like it wasn't part of the move set that I was really had, and I think I had to like do some extra stuff to maybe unlock it. I don't know. I didn't look at it that closely, but yeah.
The funny part too is like we talk about how we don't play these games a lot, and like that, we're not going to be experts, and that's the point of this. It's like, what does it feel like to get? We got to level 40 something,
right? So
and we were all kind of like, still don't really.
Like if you don't have a feel for it by level 40, or if you're like, you should have a good baseline for it at that point in terms of just how it feels.
Yeah,
right? I think it's fair to do it.
Now, we don't have to be an expert of the game to like get the feel for the game. I don't think that's fair. Like we should be able to play it for a decent amount of time and have a feel for the game.
Yeah, and I'm just going to be honest here, because another classic argument is always, hey, but you didn't play end game raids. That's when that stuff matters. Like, holy crap, are you serious? I have to wait till an end game raid before I even know how cool my class is? That's lame, dude. Like, that's
not, and like jumping in, like, WoW's not that bad. This game's
no, heck no. Retail WoW right now, Shadowlands is not that bad. You can pick a class and you can level it up, and it will have an identity. Agree, disagree with whether it's fun, but it will. Each class does have an identity, right? So but utility, it doesn't have it, obviously. Now I feel like I had some, right? Like I was knocking things down, which was a form of crowd control, right? They couldn't attack, and you guys could go in and finish them off. Yeah. And it had healing. I did a little bit of that, and it didn't.
You had the
aggro
do
much. Yeah, and I had the aggro thing, but it didn't work. It was like an AoE around me, just very small. So it worked a little bit. It didn't feel like I needed to do any of it though, besides the knockdown, which I really did feel like helped. Could be wrong, but it felt like it did. I think it saved us a few times. So I'm going to give it a C on utility because for the Valkyrie, it did have some. I was just doing a rotation of different utility. Honestly, it's what I was mainly doing. I wasn't doing a lot of DPS. I was mainly just running the utility. So for that class, it did have some. So I give it a C. It just was inconsequential. It didn't. We could have went without it.
Like if you were playing by yourself, it probably would have mattered a little bit more.
Yes. But because I was in a team, you guys didn't really need me to do it in most scenarios. So I can't give it a good score, but I give it a C. Just because it did have it for me.
It's interesting you say that too, because like the class that I enjoyed this game the most, like I leveled a Lon or a Lin I think it's a Lon, the girl with like the rope cloth thing and the ribbons. Yeah, she was really fun and cool. Didn't have a lot to her, but it was just neat. And then I leveled a Berserker, and the Berserker was cool as hell. Like I had a massive strategy with how I played. Like I'd pick somebody up and start slamming them off my axe and then throw them at other enemies. And then I'd jump into the enemies and I'd hit a wolf form that turned me into a wolf and I'd start stomping the ground and killing all of them. And then when I didn't have my wolf, I'd go into like a berserker rage and spin my axes around. So like I had this really cool rotation for taking out camps. It was really neat. I didn't feel that at all on Assassin. I'm just calling it an assassin. Can I just call it an assassin? So I don't sound like I'm slurring and drunk.
Speaking of being drunk, guys, I just want to real quick. Libwick, who's in our community, gave me permission I could talk about it because I love it. Unit Wine, guys. Go check it out. Unit.com, I think, YOONIT. Go check it out. You're supporting a Pantheon community member who's very active, and his wine is awesome.
We have been paid no money to advertise.
No, I just love it. I'm just a fan. Just a fan.
This is real. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. Okay. So Nathan, you're not, would you rate D for combat?
D for combat. No, I went D. D. And then C for utility.
You might have the highest average right now.
Yeah.
Pace of play.
Oh, this is where 4 pages of notes from Drake, by the way.
Yeah.
I have a feeling.
It's coming.
Yeah.
So I enjoy it a little bit, I guess.
Tell us why it makes you feel that way.
Well, you feel like a badass. I mean, like if you want to play a game to feel like you're like a crazy badass in a huge world, like I felt that. Like I said, like if I was rating my Berserker, I'd give this I might give it an A. I'm not even kidding. Like that's how much I enjoyed that class. Again, my biggest problem was every ability I used had a distance that it would send me in some direction. And if I was really good at the class, I would be in the right spots for that to be perfect. What would happen? I'd go through a bunch of enemies. Now I'm over here and the enemies are behind me. So I'm turning around and I'm fighting it. And I'm over here all of a sudden. And then when we're fighting in a hallway, I'm against the wall and I can't see anything. So the crazy amount of movement within my abilities and how frantic it was at times crazy bad. But then there were the times where I got myself under control and I would do that big blade strike and I'd knock a bunch of enemies down in front of us and you guys would see that. And then I'd do the tornado into them and then I'd start doing the quick front and slashes. So there was time when I was doing my combos well, I loved it. I thought it was cool. There was a lot of ads. There were times when it felt like we were never going to stop fighting. We were really encountered. Pace of play. I mean, again, just this class, I'll give it a B-.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it.
Yeah. I can see what you're saying. You do feel powerful when you're spreading out damage in a very fast manner. I get the feeling of it. And I have to say, I don't play a lot of the Korean MMOs or Asian MMOs. And BDO doesn't seem like it's as fast as some of those. I mean, to be honest, Guild Wars 2 is pretty fast.
Did you think Guild Wars 2 is faster than BDO?
I think in a way it can be. Yeah, maybe a little, but the thing what I'm getting at is that BDO's pace didn't bother me as much as I thought it would. I thought it would just be flashing lights, constant chaos, and it didn't really come to that point. I didn't find, which is actually surprising. So I don't want to be as hard on it as I could be here because I think it suits the game well. I think it suits what it does well. The problem is that it's just not for me. I don't want to play a game that goes that fast, you guys. Like it's not satisfying because everything feels too cheap. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah. I think that is the feeling, right? Cheap. I think that's
Mhm.
probably I don't think anything sums up the entire game. It does feel cheap. It feels like a cheap game. That's the problem. That's the problem with the graphics. That's
You're
the perfect.
stealing my stuff,
perfect word.
Derek.
Okay, well, I'll stop. I'll give the pace of play. I'll give the pace of play just a C because I'll be fair about it and say it works well for the game that it is. It's not for me. So playing a ranger, maybe it's the ranger class itself because it was more.
I tried to play Ranger and Archer when I first started playing the game. I hated them both so bad. Like,
And why did you hate them so bad?
It just wasn't enjoyable. Like, it's hard to explain. I just didn't like those classes. I'm curious, anybody in chat, if you played BDO, did you play those classes? What were your thoughts on them, like compared to other classes you might have played? Because I felt like both the classes just felt, I don't know. Like, I feel like Theric, if you go try Berserker or Lon, and then you're like, I think if you compare it to the Archer or the Ranger, you'll be like, wow, Archer and Ranger kind of suck. Like, I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, maybe.
I want to throw in on this because I tried it too for a little while. Because when it first came out, for some reason, at least from my point of view, it seemed like everybody was playing the Archer. Like there was a ton of them, just Archers or Wizards. It seemed like. So I tried a Wizard. I thought that, I thought that some of the spell effects were cool. And I was like, let me try the Ranger, see what's up with that. And what I felt from it, and I think maybe you guys felt this too, was there wasn't any impact. When you hit things in an MMO, I don't know how they do it. I don't know the science behind it, but there's this impact you get, and it feels really good when you get it, right? It's like an animation of like, or something. And I don't think the Ranger was just kind of like you could see where it hit them,
Yeah.
but it didn't feel like, it doesn't matter how much damage it takes off their health. It didn't feel like you were doing much. It felt like you were
Yeah, that's a good point.
pecking at it. You know what I
You couldn't
mean?
even tell how
Exactly.
much damage you were doing to it because it
Yeah,
didn't
but
even
I
move
felt-
the health bar anyway till
That's
you
right.
killed 9,000 of them.
True.
I'm going to talk about that a little bit. I
Yeah.
think I might like that mechanic, but Ted.
So Jack, let's hear what you have to say.
Wait, did he score it? I didn't hear the score. Did I miss it?
Oh, I gave it a C, just a straight C.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess this is my second triple F minus, which is why I gave combat a little break. I did not like it at all. I think it plays faster than Guild Wars 2, honestly, like it did for me. You know what annoyed me the most is no bosses. There's no boss bombs.
I fought a boss.
What?
I fought a boss. You guys couldn't see it for some reason. I fought a boss.
Yeah, right. It was phased out for us.
And then we fought the big giant that wrecked us.
Yeah.
I
don't
not the
know.
same thing.
It wasn't, but we ran across all these really cool looking mobs, and they had like different mobs mixed in with like the regular mobs, and they were super cool, but they weren't anything, right? They weren't nothing different than what the regular mobs were. I just felt like, and we just mowed over mob after mob after mob, and nothing aggroed, and didn't really like. I did fire spells because that's what I love to do, but I don't think it really made any difference what spells I was using. I could have went lightning, I could have went ice, and we just continued just to roll over stuff, and that pace of play for me is just awful. It's torturous. I mean I don't like. I even like WoW's a little fast for me. I think that because you can pull so many mobs in WoW, but this is just on a whole nother level, even above and beyond WoW. And so I like the idea of pulling. I like the idea of healing. I like the idea of mezzing and crowd control, and I like the idea of like coordinating with your group, and I like the idea of like we have this challenge and how are we going to be able to get past it, and it's going to kill us one time, but then once it kills us, then we're going to figure out, oh well, they did that, so now we can do this, and then we're going to get past it. And there's just none of that in this game, and that's the pace of play that I'm looking for. And so triple F minus, sorry.
All right, so
you
we
know
had
what's
we had two triple F minuses from Drax. So the average, I don't know what is a triple F minus and a C average? Like, how do you average this?
I think it's double F minus.
Yeah, it just brings it up 1 F. You lose 1 F for the C. That's all
Drax
it
gonna
is.
give
Double F
1
minus.
F. 1 F, yeah.
So pace of combat, and I would just like to mention that I like how Drac doesn't he doesn't hold back his secret of his score when he's mad, right? Like if it's a triple F minus, he's gonna tell you right from the beginning. You know, like he's just gonna lay it out there and then he's gonna explain. I like that. But anyway, I don't like the pace of play either. It's the only reason that I could never dedicate a long period of time playing BDO, because I have played around with a lot of the systems where, and I don't remember, but you know, where you can have people that work for you and you can go out and get these different nodes and they're connected and they go and they mine for you and stuff. I played around with that for a while, but I never could give the game a real long shot because the pace is just, the combat's too fast. It really is. It's just too wild. Like a lot of times you don't even know what you're doing. You know what I mean? You just know there's a bunch of things in front and beside and behind you, and you're just doing things to kill as many as possible. And you're not hardly looting. You got pets that can do that for you in the game. You're not I mean, we got to level 40 in a few play sessions, so leveling up is way too fast. It's just kind of like this weird. It's like riding on a roller coaster where it was so fast you don't even know what happened. And
You wait in line. You wait in line for like an hour, and it was like a 10-second ride.
And then it's just like, and it was so fast you don't even know if you're upside down. You're just like, and people are like, "Did you like that?" And you're like, "I don't know what happened."
You're
like I'm nauseous, but other than that, I don't remember anything.
I closed my eyes and it was over.
Right. I did some things. Some things happened.
I screamed a little. I closed my eyes, and that was it.
Yeah, and now I'm 40 years old, so I don't know. I don't know what happened. But anyway, so I'm not gonna give a triple F minus because, but I will. I do think it's an F. The pace plays god awful.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now we're into identity alignment. By the way, we had some fun stuff said here. Rivenali said, I remember kiting across entire zones with my druid and EQ. That was a blast. Yeah. So there you go. I love that Gulu Gulu put 3 Fs and then the minus head. So triple F.
That's perfect.
That was awesome. You win the day, Gulu Gulu.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
He also pointed out earlier how the Schlongbow was the best part of our streams, and I forgot to mention it at the time, but he did say the Schlongbow was what made BDO worth it. And
when you replaced your Schlongbow is really where it went downhill, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know, after the Schlongbow bit the dust, there was no fun left to be had. So.
After the Schlongbow bit the dust.
Someone needs to clip that.
Reminds me of Breakfast Club. He's like, I'm going to kick your... What's he saying?
God, it's been forever since I saw that.
I'm going to kick your dick in the dirt or something like that.
Does he? I don't remember that.
But he's talking about, yeah. Okay. So identity alignment. Again, if I was rating the Berserker, it's crazy. It's so crazy. If I was reading the Berserker, I would be grading this like as one of the higher games. It's so great. But playing this class, I mean, again, it's quick. It's based on movement. It's fast. It's in and out all over the place. You have the shadow magic with like tornadoes. You throw a tornado, you can have a shadow wall. If I was rating it for like, how is it for a assassin? Like it's, I guess that's what it is. But playing it in replace of a rogue, I don't know. It's not a rogue. Like there's no rogue in this game. Maybe if I did play ninja, I would have liked it more. I would have had to get over the fact that I'm using a katana. I don't know. The identity alignment of the assassin was not good. I'd probably say like a D. I'll give it a D for identity alignment. It wasn't If I was rating it for what it was, like the suite of abilities makes sense for it. It feels like a complete class, but for what I wanted and for the fact that I'm here to talk about rogues and classes like rogues, it's not good. So D.
Yeah. Yeah. So the same problem here as in Guild Wars 2 is that basically every class is just doing different damage, different ways of doing damage. Like that's basically all everybody's doing. Like Nathan, you had some good points about your class being able to knock things down and a little bit of crowd control aspect. So I can respect that. But I just feel like we're all just doing damage just in different ways, and it's really just of what do you want your damage to look like. That's the identity, and that's the bigger part of BDO that I really really don't like is that it's identity has become how you look, and I feel like BDO is the flag bearer for this, and I'm gonna be very hard on it for that because it's so focused on how you look and the style of it. It's so stylized, and what you like about the moves that how they look minus is great, and I agree they do look good, but that's not your identity, and I feel like that's what BDO relies on when they say our game has class identity. It's look at how it moves, look at how it looks, right? And it's like that has nothing to do with class identity in my mind. That's totally something that's a social aspect of the game, right? So for the ranger, like I like the way shooting a bow looks, and I like it better than sneaking up on something and or zooming towards it and stabbing it or throwing a fireball at it. But it's all the same at the end of the day. It's all the same, and so 0. I mean, I got to give it an F. It's just identity in this game is not what I think identity really means.
I got to jump in here and say that I also enjoyed how the schlong bow looked. I just had to.
That was the problem. Like even the schlongbow disappointed because it didn't look good. It looked.
And then when you upgraded your bow, I think it looked almost the same. I didn't see.
Yeah, the upgraded
there's
bow
a lot
looked
of that.
exactly the same. It was awful.
Yeah. When I upgraded, I put on better armor, guys. I had like cloth, like just the basic rags you start out with or whatever. I went and bought like titanium steel plate chest piece, put it on, and the cloth went away to reveal more breasts, and a tiny little like necklace appeared. Like, are you freaking kidding me, dude?
It's 100% true.
Garbage. That is so
I was
garbage.
like, wait, Nathan, take off the other one and put it on. Oh yeah, there it is.
And like if that was the case, if it was from something that like you like it downgrades your appearance when you find it in the world, like that's so ridiculous. Like,
yeah, I have never put on new clothes and got more naked. That's never happened to me. Please let us know in the chat if that's ever happened to you, but I've never put on clothes and got more naked. It's never happened to me.
Not yet, at least. Not yet. Who knows what tomorrow holds?
They never put on more clothes. We might at least get some quotes out of this show. Whatever this show ends up becoming, we might get some quotes. Whew.
Yeah. So my grade's an F. Drac, what did you think?
Oh man,
this has to be higher for you.
It was. I was gonna, but then I listened to Theric, and now I feel bad.
No, don't feel bad, man.
Bro, you have 2 triple F minuses. You're safe.
All right.
It's not gonna have a good score for you.
I mean,
no matter what.
You can give it an A. It won't matter.
You give it triple A plus.
I can't give it an A. But it felt like a wizard.
You looked like a freaking wizard too.
It did definitely.
I looked like a wizard. It felt like a wizard when I played it. Like the fireballs, the lightning, the ice spells, they all had great graphics. The feeling of casting spells, like when I brought down the huge fireball, it felt really good. That piece of it for me, the class identity piece, I think is the strongest and the best part of BDO for me and the wizard. So I'll give it a B. For me, but again, like it's a B that has to be averaged out with 2 triple F minuses. So
just make sure everyone knows. All right.
So I gotta say, mine. So the problem with this is it's really hard for me to do this because it's not a paladin, right?
Same
and
with me.
know
Same.
I knew it the whole time, so I feel like you, minus. But I have to judge it as if it was, right? And did I get what I like out of playing paladin out of this class? Absolutely not, right? it was okay, and I had some fun, and there was some cool, interesting things about it, and I think it's a really cool idea of what they did with the Valkyrie in BDO based on what the game is, right? Because it was an added later class. This wasn't a launch class. So I think they did some good things based on the, what they had to work with. But it definitely I didn't feel like a tank. I didn't feel like, and I could pull things to me, but to be honest, because Minus's gear was so much better than mine, it was stupid too. Like it would be suicide in a lot of cases. So I felt like Minus was a tank, not me. I wanted things to get on Minus. I would purposefully wait a second, let him get aggro, and then I would go after it or try and knock it down. So it didn't feel like a paladin at all. But I can't give it a triple F minus or even an F because it did have some saving graces, right? Like I really enjoyed that group heal, and I really enjoyed the knockdown, the AOE. And there was moments where, and some of the spell effects, man, it did feel like a paladin, right? Like there was this aura thing where she point her sword up and this holy light would come down. So, and I totally appreciate some stuff like that. So I'm going to give it a C minus.
Okay. All right, so overall grade does not represent, and we're going to break down some other stuff here. We're not going to wrap up just yet. It won't be much longer here, but if someone does want to come on the show, we know we kind of just threw this out there, so people are just checking out. You're welcome to jump in the green room if you want to chat about DDO, if you've ever had it, or ask any questions about it, or give us your opinion on the classes you played. Just like Pantheon Plus U, we'll bring you in and chat with us for a little bit if you want to. No pressure. So let's go around and give a final grade, but then I want to talk about, is there anything in this game that Pantheon can take away? Because I think that's really important. End of the day, we're doing this because we want to learn more about MMORPG systems and classes. And I don't know, I feel like we're educating ourselves doing this. Sometimes we put ourselves through hell, but it's experiencing, it's knowing what's out there. I think it's super important for MMORPGers. And right now, while we're waiting for Pantheon, why not? Like, who cares if you play a game that's bad for a little bit? So let's go ahead and rate the classes, and then let's jump into a Pantheon discussion after, if you guys are cool with that.
Yeah.
So the overall grade is not an average. We've said that a bunch. What is the overall grade of the class? I'm going to say a C minus for me.
Yeah. For the Ranger, I'm going to go with a D minus.
Okay. Track.
I'd have to go with a D minus as well.
Okay. Nathan.
Yeah. I'm going to go D plus.
Okay. So we're all semi close to each other. Nobody loved it. Again, if I played a Berserker, I'd probably be saying B plus. That's how crazy it is.
Mm-hmm.
And like a bunch of people were talking about the lawn in chat. Like the lawn is a beautiful class. And I bet you, like, Theric, if you got into that little goofball creature with the music notes and support, like, you'd probably be like, this is ridiculously weird and different.
Yeah.
In playing the game and trying other classes, there are definitely some classes I played that I'm like, ooh. And again, Ranger, Archer. I don't remember if I played any other ones. I don't think I played the Wizard. But the ones, there was definitely a couple that I played. I was like, I think I played the big Norse looking girl, with like the blue, and she had the shield. Like, I didn't like her at all. I played the newer one that came out recently. The what was she? Like ice. She did ice moves.
Sorcerer, wasn't it called
no,
sorcerer?
she was like a knight, or it almost looked like a Valkyrie, but it's not the Valkyrie. And she did like ice freezing attacks. So like I installed that Nova. There you go, Sephiroth.
Oh, Nova, yeah.
And like I didn't like Nova, but I did. Like I said, the Berserker, the Lion were phenomenal. So it's weird to me, like maybe it's one of those games where there's classes that people love because they align with them, but there's a big gap in what I thought was a really fun class and what was a rough class. So it's weird.
Well, Minus, like you were saying, we want to play different MMOs, try things we've never tried before. I was excited to try this game because I had never played it before. This was my first experience with it. So, I had sort of judged it ahead of time, and I realized that was that's not the way to do things. Like, you should definitely give things a try. And so I went into this with an open mind, and I find myself, right now, I think with BDO, you have to like transfer your account before May 30th, or else your character is going to get deleted, your account's going to get wiped, something like that. I find myself having no desire to do that. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I don't care if my character gets deleted. Like, I have no investment in my character right now. I don't care if she lives or dies. And if I lose whatever progress I've made in the 3-4 weeks we've been playing this game, like, I don't care. That's fine. I could get there again, no problem. And I think that's sort of like the lightning rod for like whether or not a class or a game resonates with you. And I'm glad we tried it. I don't regret it, but I think that there's just something about it that I have no desire to go back and play it again.
Direct. Anything on just overall experience?
I kind of knew I wasn't going to like this game going into it, but I give it a shot. It's fun to do. As we've said before, like some of the thing for me is just like, I'll play any MMO with you guys, right? The four of us getting together and playing is just a fun time. Regardless of we could be doing checkers, it doesn't matter to me. So that piece of it's just fun. The game, it's pretty weak.
Yeah.
Nathan, overall game.
Yeah, I mean, I came out of it feeling exactly the same as I did going in, right? Like, there's some aspects of this game that are worth noting, right? Like, that a lot of people I feel like don't realize about the game. There's a lot of myths about the game that I feel like some of those we kind of dispelled. So I'm glad we did this because I wanted people to see, like, there's somebody in the community that would have fun with this game while they're waiting on Pantheon, right? So I feel like we got value out of somebody either already plays it and was embarrassed to say anything, right? And got a little validation because we did play it and showed them and talked about the good things too. Like one guy, maybe. Like one single person. But
house we were in and said it was really nice. That person got some good times out of this.
But I don't, like I say, this is one of those where I can totally understand why people play it. I just would never take it seriously. That's all. I totally see the value of the game. I can even understand why it's popular, and it's one of those things where I don't sit around scratching my head like the other one that we played first. That one confuses me. Like, I can't believe people play it like that.
That's how I feel about this one. Like, I'm like, minus, and you guys are saying like this can be your not take it seriously kind of your fun game. I'm like, how do you do that? How do you do that? This game's so layered and multi-systemed complicated. I'm like, I'd have to take it seriously to enjoy it because I'd have to learn at least some of the systems. And I'm like, that part of it is not like that part of it holds no fun for me. Like I'd have
to have a stretching routine for my hands to play this game. Like to take it seriously, routine Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Yeah.
All right. So can Pantheon learn anything?
Well, you know what? I don't know. Can Pantheon learn anything from this? I think Pantheon can learn that making a beautiful, beautiful world isn't a substitute for making that world engaging because it's a beautiful world. I said it right at the beginning of the show tonight. I said, the graphics are amazing. This game looks excellent. Some of the things like you talked about, Nathan, were right. It's a little too busy, but it does look good when you're there and you look around and it's amazing. But it doesn't, I don't think Pantheon needs to learn this. I think they know this very well. And this is what they're sort of working from the basis of is that there's got to be engagement and you have to feel that world has something to offer you other than just a bunch of mobs over here, a bunch of mobs over there. There's got to be more going on, like it doesn't have any hooks. So I would say that.
The only thing I really actually, there's one thing in BDO that I really, there's such a small chance, but I really do want it to make it to Pantheon, right? One thing, laying down and crawling on your belly. There is so much opportunity there. Like imagine you're a ranger and you're up on a hill, right? And you crawl out from the bushes on your belly and you aim your weapon down and you shoot it, right? Like that's just cool, man. Like I do want that in the game. I do. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was funny, but I also liked it, and I want it in Pantheon. I think sit then lay. I think we should be able to lay down. Why can't we lay down? We should be able to lay down.
Interesting. Would never have thought of that.
And we should gain even more mana when we're laying down, but take more damage and get even more aggro, right? Because that's like insulting. Like you're gonna lay down in the middle of battle. Are you freaking kidding me? Yeah, I want laying down. That's it. That's all I want.
Nice. That's a good one.
Jack, anything?
Well, let's see. Don't be an action MMO.
I don't think you have to worry about that.
I want to be able to loot stuff, please, for the love. I don't want. We killed how many things? I had zero
About
loot.
7 million things.
No,
At the end of the day,
exactly.
I had zero loot, absolutely no loot whatsoever. Minus wasn't even stealing it all. It just didn't
My
drop.
pets might have been. My pets might have been.
Jamal
he
like
didn't
this
do it
game at all.
himself.
Actually, that's shocking. That's
It is
shocking.
shocking.
Dude,
For
it's
the
an
little bit of loot, I can't believe he even plays it. Actually,
dude, it's an MMO. It's all about the loot. Please.
Totally.
I need some loot in my game, and I want the loot to show up and be different when I wear it. As you said,
I can't
as
argue
somebody
any of
else,
this.
as someone else said, all the costumes look the same. When I put on when I bought something from the auction house or whatever because somebody gave me some money, it was the same thing. And so I want to be able to look different when I change. I want stuff to drop. I want there to be boss mobs with named drops and items that are that I remember and that I can take with me forever. So those things are very, very important. I want healing in the game. The quaternity is a huge deal breaker for me. It's very important. So I don't think Pantheon's really in danger of not knowing that, but
Yeah.
You guys are more in the this game's going to teach Pantheon what not to do.
That's exactly right. Whatever this game does, do the opposite.
So harsh. I think that I do think that there's a lot. The market system I think would be really good in a game like Pantheon. It adds reason to travel in the world. It means going to cities that you normally wouldn't go to in a lot of MMORPGs, like a lower city, because there's value in taking gear there and like adventuring like with a pack of stuff, heavyweight, like let's go. I do think that the market system is pretty neat. It can be cumbersome, but I think that that's okay when you're doing it like this because it adds that, dare I say, immersion to being a merchant in the world. Like it's another one of those life skills. Like if you want to be a merchant, you want to play the auction house, you want to amass wealth. And the inflation's insane, but you can really have a lot of fun doing that in BDO. So I like that aspect. I love the size of the world. And you guys didn't even get to see like going out on a boat, how freaking crazy that is. So like the boating side of it, like the sea travel is amazing. Again, we didn't get to see that here, but I think that the Pantheon could definitely take away from how cool that is. The process of making a boat is extremely challenging. Lumber and everything you need to do to be able to get this boat. And when your boat is at a dock somewhere, it's not just pull it up if you're at another dock. Like if you die and you spawn off of that island, like good luck. Like, because you don't have a boat anymore. So there's stuff like that. And then, and we know Pantheon's I guess we don't know what Pantheon's going to do with ground mounts yet. Most of what we heard is no, or if it is, it's not going to be like these super hyper fast mounts that like skip stuff. The mount system in BDO is pretty interesting. You have to feed the pet or the mount levels, which increases the abilities that it gets. It can't run like a sprint for very long until you level it up a lot. If you leave it out in the world, it can die. You have to stable it. And if you stable it in town A and then you go to B to get your mount, you can't. Your horse isn't there. It's in town A. Go get it. So like it's not a whistle you blow and your mount comes right to you. So there's a very interesting mount system that's punishing if you mistakenly use your mount, like if it gets killed out in the wild. I think there's a lot to learn from BDO's systems. I'm not saying you have to replicate them. I'm not saying that crafting's the best, but I do think like the sea navigation, the size of the world, if there's mounts, the mount system's pretty interesting and punishing. And again, the market system I think is pretty solid. So that's the stuff I think that they could look at and say, hey, this kind of works. How would we change it? Because my big thing with Pantheon is like, you don't have to copy something, but if something's done well, look at why and see what you can take from it. And those are probably the systems I would say that Pantheon could learn a little bit from this game about. but it's
I agree
combat
with you
and
on the
all that.
mounts, by the way. That I do love that. I think that's really cool, and it makes mounts matter and makes you take care of them and makes you, not just willy nilly around the world with your mount. You'll actually like find a safe spot for it, park it, get out on foot, and actually go down into a dangerous place.
Yeah, because if
And
you take
I
it in a
fell in
dangerous
love.
place, it'll get killed.
Right. And I fell in love with that mount system, by the way. Back in the day, Super Mario World, when you had to leave Yoshi to go into the dungeon. When that changed my life. I was like, you know what? That makes freaking sense. I'm
So
not gonna bring
you can
Yoshi in here.
confirm that this game stole the idea from Super Mario World.
Yes.
When you had to go
confirmed.
into Boo's Castle, into the haunted houses.
Yes, that's where it came from. Now, honestly, UO did the same thing, right? You got to mount, and mounting was a big deal in UO. People went out and tamed monsters that could be mounted, and then trained them, or I don't know. I never did that, but they did all that, and then they would go to town with a bunch of them and sell them. You know what I mean? And so your mount would die, and you go back to town. You'd have to find somebody to buy a new mount from. And it was cool, and I liked it. I thought, and you got to name your mount. You get to do that in BDO. I'm pretty sure you name it, and like, I just think that's cool, man. It's like the legacy of, everybody's gonna name it a horse Epona or something, right? Like the legacy of Epona ended today because I parked her in a very dangerous spot, and I just think that's cool, and it adds more coolness to that mount. You could be like,
BDO
I've had this mount since
doesn't
launch, right?
BDO doesn't have unrealistic mounts either, right? It's mostly horses. I think
Horses and donkeys or mules or something like that is what you
think
start
we saw
with.
an elephant too, but that's about it.
And that's probably that's probably a crazy mount, like high level, most likely kind of thing is the elephant. So
That's interesting.
Or cash shop.
or the cat. No, there's no mounts in cash
I don't
shop,
thi-
but you
yeah.
can buy barding. You can only buy barding for your mount, which is weird. You would think they would do that, but they don't.
Like what you're saying is like there's this common thread in other systems in DDO and BDO that you really like. Like there's this harshness to it. There's this sort of like realism / punishment type of theme that runs through the other systems, but it's absent in combat. Like why are these other systems like so much like that? But
You're right.
combat is so trivial. Like that's so
Weird.
strange to
Well,
me.
how
So like,
funny
minus
is
you're
it-
right. If some of those ideas made it to Pantheon, like I would be okay with that. Like down the road as they sort of get layered on top of what's already there. But like, the theme is right. But when
You know
when
what's funny?
it's not,
A bunch
when
of
combat's not at the
Pantheon-
core, it doesn't really matter.
A bunch of Pantheon community members often say the phrase, I want non-combat activities to do. This game is essentially that.
Yeah,
Tons of it.
Like it's crazy. And somebody said it earlier. I apologize for not remembering who it was. So if you're there in chat, my apologies. You can shout out, "Hey, Minus, that was me." But someone said it feels more like an ARPG, and then it has MMORPG systems.
Yeah,
I want to. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I think that's just a good call out.
Yeah, the ARPG thing. I've been thinking about this the entire time. So I think if there was one thing different, a ton more people like us would enjoy the game, right? Because what I want to say about this game, but I can't, is if you like Diablo, you'll probably like this, where you just kind of mow through these,
where you're going.
hordes. But it's not true, and I think actually that could be true if they made cooler death animations, right? Like ripped apart, bones flying, something cool with the
blood
death
effects
animation.
are cool.
Yeah, anything to make you feel like that was a really cool, because to me, when I think back at Diablo, especially, Diablo 2, like older Diablo, the only reason I really just got so addicted to just killing and mowing through things was because those death animations were really cool back then. Like,
How
you'd
about
see
if
it, and there'd be
loot
loot
drops?
spraying, and it
Yeah,
was just...
they got to add more loot drops, because that's
Yes.
the
Yeah.
whole thing with the
Yes.
RPG. You got to have
That's
some
true.
loot.
Yeah, that's right.
Can you
Missing
imagine if
essential ingredient.
BDO had an ARPG loot style? I bet it would be huge.
Yeah, I think I would play it. I really do. I think I would if it made death look, because the death animations are really lame in the game.
You don't like them
people
turning
think
to
that doesn't
stone?
matter, but it does. It really does. That was a key ingredient in WoW Classic, WoW Vanilla, I should say. Those death animations for that time were cool, man. Like, they'd make noises, and they each had their own little animation the way they died, and you just didn't think about it, but it was addicting, and you did like doing it.
Yeah, remember the trees that like it would like slide. It was like cut in half, and it would like slide off and then fall over. Those were
Yeah. Yes, it had a lot of good ones. Yeah.
Cerulean just asks, is anybody else looking forward to the Diablo 2 remaster? Not me.
I am.
Yes,
I am. I
definitely.
really am.
I'm
That's
into
where
it.
I went. I don't
Yeah,
want a
I'm excited about
remaster.
4 too. I love the new graphics style. They're going back to the
I'm
roots.
excited for that too. Yeah.
I'm excited about 4 also.
I'm not a
But you know,
replayer.
we're gonna get 2 first, so I'm happy
Just-
about that first.
Just not a replayer. I don't know.
It won't feel like you're replaying though.
Minus
No.
only listens to songs 7 times. He doesn't listen. He doesn't play video games more than once.
No.
Listen, some of my favorite
great
games of all
point, Brad.
time I've probably play like there's an exception. Like MMORPGs are different. You play a different class, it's like a different experience in my opinion. But like Final Fantasy Tactics I've played through 10 times. That is the highest single game I've played through. That's like a single player game ever. And after that, like I played Silent Hill 2 maybe 3 or 4 times through. I like that game. But most other games I'm going to play through once. I like to go and experience the next thing. And maybe a lot of where that came from was being a console gamer. Like I wanted to play the next console game, right? So I don't know. That's why I really struggle. Like I'm happy, Drac, that you guys are going to be playing EverQuest and probably have more fun doing that than I'll do playing anything. I just can't. And I jokingly said to you, Drac, and it's sort of true that like one of the reasons I can't jump back into EQ is because I want to preserve my memories that are way more fantastical. And when I go play EverQuest again, I'm like, oh, I remember this looking way cooler. I remember this being way cooler. It like
true.
takes me down a notch. Like my memories are so fantastical and the graphics are so good in my head. Like, right. Like, and then I play it. I'm like, that's what it was. So
sort of falls apart a little bit.
That's why indie games, in my opinion, a lot of indie games are doing so well because we didn't realize how important and how impactful having to use our imagination sometimes is, right?
Yeah.
Because the graphics aren't portraying it how it really feels, and so your imagination goes to work there. And that was old school RPGs, man. That's what it was all about. Like it gave you a good enough of an idea for you to just let your imagination do the rest. Like
how about when you go back and play Final Fantasy VII, not the remake, the old one, and Cloud was literally shapes. In my head, Cloud was like fully formed. Like I remembered Cloud almost like cutscene Cloud, right?
Yeah.
And you're walking around, you're like, am I just like a triangle and 2 squares? Is that what
he doesn't even have hands? It's just like my puppets. It's just
Yep. Yeah. No. I've had that experience with voice acting in games. When old games never used to have voice acting, it was just the dialogue. So you're always reading in your head and you give the characters the voice that you imagine them having, right? And then it's like then when they add voice acting, you're like, that's not what the character sounds like. Like it's like
what game
it takes away that old the old idea you had about it and makes it into a reality that doesn't match with what you thought, right? So I'm like, I think that's the same sort of idea.
The game,
guys, I know this is really bizarre for me, just bust in and say some really weird crap like this, but I don't know if you guys can hear it on the mic, but my door to my office is opening and slamming, and there is nobody there. There's literally a ghost in my office right now. Slamming
it's
my
for
door.
crapping on old EQ. Somebody snuck into your house and is slamming your door to freak you out.
It's that guy. It's that guy I talked about on one of the shows. He must have passed away, and he's coming back for his revenge.
The voice, Theric. Well, I was a big comic book kid, so reading comics, you kind of get these ideas in your head. If you don't try to, like what they sound like and what you expect, and then you get like an animated show, and you're like, that's not what he sounds like. But the one that killed me. Anyone a Mega Man fan?
I loved Mega Man back in the day, especially 2.
Yeah.
Mega Man 2, so good.
Yeah. 2 was
Mega Man 8, he talked.
What?
And Mega Man 8, Mega Man talked for the first time.
Yeah.
And it was the most feminine little girl voice I've ever heard in my life.
It was jarring, yeah.
And I was like, that's not what Mega Man sounds like.
Right.
Well, let me explain something else that made that even more confusing. We used to probably watch, all of us, a show called Captain N or something like that, where Mega Man was a character and he did not sound like that. He sounded like you would more expect. So that probably plays into that.
Yeah. But I was thinking of the old like Space Quest games because I remember 1, 2, and 3, 4 maybe as well. You never had a voice for Roger Wilco. He was always in your head. And then once they got into some of the, when they got 5 and 6, then he had a voice and it was like, oh.
I kind of liked his voice. He was such a nerd.
Yeah, but he wasn't the nerd that I knew. He was a different nerd. So yeah.
All right, so let's not make this go on too long. Let's talk what are we doing next? So our strategy, we've talked about kind of going newer school, old school, newer school, old school. So that was new school. So what did we decide on? I know we kind of picked something, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we're doing Lord of the Rings Online next week.
Whoop,
So the,
whoop.
so the question, I haven't played this game. I have it installed. I played it for no joke 5 minutes. I made a Hobbit rogue, and there was a huge story part, like huge, and like Frodo showed up and Samwise, and they're like, "Oh my god, they're coming!" And then the freaking Reaper things, whatever wraiths or whatever they're called, showed up, and he was on a horse threatening me, and they were hiding with the cloak. It was a crazy story. So my question is, for us to play this together next week, I'm imagining this world's probably pretty big. If it's a Tolkien world, are we gonna pick and just be the same race so we're together? Like, what's the strategy? I haven't played the game at all.
Good
Do we have
point.
to worry about that?
Because we don't know our way around, right? So either we'll have to all get together. There's like an intro quest that doesn't take long, and then we'll have to like figure it out and get together, or we're all gonna have to play something that all the
Cerulean
classes.
said the
Is there-
starting areas are
and-
pretty close.
And I don't even
Humans.
know. Yeah, we'll probably end up all humans. Because I don't know if there's like I kind of doubt that a halfling can be
Paladin.
a champion or whatever they're called in that game.
Yeah, and all
You
the
know what I mean?
classes are very there's no standard name to any of the classes, are there?
Yeah.
No,
No,
it's
it's all
the
very
names from
unique.
the book. It actually is legitimate to the lore, like lore master. I don't
Yeah.
remember, but yeah, they all fit. But there is a rogue class. What is it called in?
I don't know. I don't remember.
It makes
I
perfect
think-
remember.
sense. Like
I think
thief
we
or-
need a healer for
Highwayman
this game
or
too,
something?
don't we?
I think we will. Yeah, I think we'll have to. I think Vendini or
Burglar.
Breakout will play with us for this one.
Is it 5 people? We need to check all the info on this, on how many people are
Mhm.
allowed in the
Oh,
party. I
chat's
don't
saying
know.
burglar.
Burglar. That's what it's called. Yeah, you'll be a burglar.
Minus you're playing a burglar.
Captain can do some
Hamburglar.
healing. Is that captain? Is that a paladin?
Yeah.
Captain.
It's
That's probably
six
the
for
one.
a
Yeah,
group, so we can give Vendini and Breakout if they're available.
Nice. Yeah, it's
yeah.
good to have those guys with us.
Napalm.
Captain Napalm. There you go. Well, fortunately, I'm
The
pretty sure
captain.
Rangers are a part of the Lord of the Rings universe, so and
Yeah, you
there should
should.
be no
You
You
problem.
should be good.
And so are
Wizards and
wizards.
Razors are
Yeah,
good.
Wizards and Rangers are pretty safe. So,
So here's a question for you. When we're talking Lord of the Rings, Theric, there's 2 Rangers in Lord of the Rings. They're very different.
Mhm.
Which Ranger
Yeah.
do you like more?
Yeah,
Are
I'm
you
definitely more of an
Legolas, or
Aragorn kind of
Oh,
Ranger.
okay.
More than
The other
more
one
than.
called-
Wait, did you just
Legolas.
choose the non-elf ranger?
It's
Yeah,
just that's again.
Isn't
I know.
Legolas the elf?
Yeah.
Yes, Legolas is the elf, but I just like the style of Aragorn more. I feel like it's more, just a little bit beefier, a little bit more like hardy than the elf. We'll see. We'll see.
I'm fine playing humans if you guys just want to play humans, make it easy on us. So I mean, I don't care. I'm not gonna
Plus,
like
Aragorn was
lose my
straight up
mind.
called a ranger too.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
was straight
kinda
up
what
a
I-
ranger. So I get it. Yeah, yeah.
Like I think in Lord of the Rings Online, and I haven't played it much, but I think elf is like a class, like if I'm remembering it correctly.
Something
But
like that. Yeah.
Legolas is a hunter, they said, and
That's negative
Aragorn would be
points.
more of a captain.
Yeah,
Hmm.
we'll see. We'll have fun, no matter what it is. We'll have fun doing it.
So,
Yeah.
what variation of Legolas are you going to make your ranger there, Theric?
They're Legolas.
Legolas?
Female?
Yeah. X is before and after. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. I'll be XX Frodo XX or something, Samwise. All right. Well,
Legolas.
I hope you guys like this. This was fun for me. I love just getting together with you guys and not having a script and just chatting. I think this is more fun than like putting these videos together. I think it's a little more community involving, which we're all kind of about. As we do these more, hopefully people want to jump in, talk about their experiences in these games and share them with us. BDO is kind of a tough one to start this with. And I think we didn't really know how the show was going to go, and we didn't really know how people were going to react to it. But I think it'll be interesting because, let's be honest, there's some games on the horizon here that should have a lot of passion behind them. I mean, just thinking right now, we haven't played EverQuest. We haven't played Final Fantasy 14. We haven't played WoW, and we're going to play them. That's the plan here.
And Final Fantasy 11.
Yeah. Well, we haven't. We played that separately. Yeah. Does that server still work? The one that we played on?
It does, but there's a good one. I don't remember if we played on the good one or if we played on the
And
bad one.
someone just mentioned like the Star Wars ones. I've never played them.
Manus doesn't even like Star Wars.
I hate Star Wars, but I'll play if we have to play SOTAR or whatever it's called. We didn't play Elder Scrolls yet, so we have. Yeah, we have
Elder
a lot.
Scrolls. We gotta do that.
I've never
That-
actually played Elder Scrolls.
That's public dungeons.
We have
That's
to do
public
Elder Scrolls
dungeons.
Online just because I have a high level character in that game, so I have to.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
we go.
I got to
Eric's
flex
our
a little bit
teacher.
on you guys.
There you go. Oh yeah, because everything scales, right? So you can just come with us anywhere with your high level character.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
All right. I don't know how. I think that game's gonna be rough for me. We have Neverwinter.
Yeah, Neverwinter. I thought about the other day too. Somebody mentioned it.
There's a lot of games, and honestly, I'm gonna make you guys play Blade and Soul eventually.
No, see, I've never even played that. I've never
So I
even
should
had
just-
that on my computer before. So
Me neither. I should just keep my notes from BDO for that episode then, Minus. Is
Very different.
that what you're saying?
Very different.
Oh, really?
Very-
Okay.
Yeah. Dungeons, rare spawns in dungeons,
Okay. Fair enough.
rare loot, no mounts. It's all running, and you can run real fast and like jump off and like glide. It's very like what do they call that? Like almost like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Like it's kind of nutty. The problem is I don't think you'll be able to be a sorcerer, Drac. I don't know if anybody else is going to be able to play something that's similar to what they play. So that's going to be the challenge of that game. The tank-ish class is called a Blade Master. And I will tell you right now, that was my first class, and it is a pain in the ass. Like, it is so hard to play. They may have changed it since then. I will tell you, Summoner is the greatest thing that ever existed, except for you're this little creature with weird ears and a puffy tail, and you have a cat for a pet that you can dress in bondage. But it is the greatest class I've ever played. Like, I'm not kidding you. I was so good. Kung Fu Master is really cool. So it's going to be something where it's really going to be outside of us playing our regular class. We'll have to figure it out. But I am going to make you guys play that at some point, because that's where I met Haya and played the hell out of that game. And that's the cash shop. That one there is the cash shop that ruined my life. So not ruined my life. I'm just kidding. All right. So there's a lot to play. That's the end of the day. So if you guys are coming to these shows and checking us out when we're playing the games for a few weeks, tell us what you want us to play. If we hear enough people saying play this next, might as well. I mean, we're going to try to play everything. So, but Lord of the Rings Online, right, Nathan? That's where we're going next.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, everybody's cool with that. All right.
Yeah.
Well, next Tuesday night, this same time slot for 2 hours, you'll see us starting our adventures in Lord of the Rings Online. If you want to come and jump on in with us, we'll put what server we're going to be on if you want to run around and see and hang out and joke. A lot of people are doing that in some of the games we played. So, make it as community friendly as possible. And we'll see you guys next week, 9:00 on Twitch. So everybody take care. Have a good night. Thank you guys for everything. And let's just say this, I guess, is in Guild Wars territory for you guys, but Guild Wars is a dark age of the two low ones for me. So.
Yep. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Later.